half of everybody.
Hello, hello, hello! We are here. And Adam's always having to go into the office. It's like Brandon always being on assignment somewhere.
Yeah, well, this weekend
Like
is
a
Brandon
weird-
doing his own assignment.
Well, we don't know that. Well, we do know that. I guess you do know that. He's off gallivanting around on his own. You know. Anyway, hi. We're
Hey.
here.
Well,
We're
is
here.
Adam going to be able to
We're-
join us for Thanksgiving?
Yeah. Is he coming to Thanksgiving, Katie? This is when we get...
Because in 1 week, we'll be in the Oregon office.
And I sent a picture of our drinks last night to my family as a sneak peek of Thanksgiving. We are having one of those drinks today, so you'll get to know. You'll know what's in the sneak peek Thanksgiving drink.
Yep.
At least one of them on the menu.
Federico is
Federico,
here.
welcome. Oh gosh. Okay. Wow. Anyway.
I mean, we have our computers, so
we just haul our. Well, I only have the laptop. You have to bring your actual.
I
desktop.
have like the biggest. Why are planes flying today? I have like the computer that will launch a rocket.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Cool. Well, if he does come for Thanksgiving, then I was thinking like he could make his really good biscuits, and then I could make gravy, and we can have biscuits and gravy and just die for breakfast one morning.
I love biscuits and gravy. All right, let's do this.
Anyway, yeah. Okay, we'll start the show now. We'll stop chit chatting.
Do I need to go 5-4? Do I need to do that kind of thing?
No, I can start it myself.
You sure? All right, you ready? And
Hold on. Let me get into. This is what the professionals do, right? They do a little. Welcome everyone to another episode of Cosmos with Cosmos. High in the sky for November. I'm Liz.
I'm Mike.
And
that's all we got.
That's all we got today. That's just us on this episode. So we will be talking about the stuff some things you can find in the sky, some stories, and latest astronomy news. And then stick around or come back if you're listening to this later to the hangover. Well, where we'll just shoot the shit. So of course, being Cosmos with Cosmos, what are you drinking today?
I am calling it. I had a different name for it, but I'm calling it the Levine. This is in in memory of Keith Levine, one of the founding members of the Clash who passed away over the weekend. Right. He's the guitarist for the Clash, went on to become a founding member of PIL with Johnny Rotten of Sex Pistols fame. And so I have my Social Distortion shirt because my Circle Jerk shirt was a little dirty. So I could have worn 7 seconds, but I decided to go with Social Distortion. And in this, so your mom's going to like this drink.
Yes.
It has gin, lemon juice, raspberry liqueur. I'm leaving something out, but egg whites as well. So let me, gin, raspberry liqueur, lemon juice. Yeah, I think that might be about it.
Okay, all right.
And so, it has this nice little frothy top. Dry vermouth. That was the other
thing. Okay. I am also drinking the same exact thing, but I wanted to call my mind a gin and tuttle.
A gin and tuttle. I just think that's the greatest name.
And you'll get that a little bit later in the show with an astronomy event coming up, which my mom texted me about right before the show. Like, check this out. I'm like, I know. I'm gonna talk about it.
Yeah, my original name was the Tidal Disruption event, which is also in the news.
I was also going to call mine the Red Wave.
Yes, which never happened.
Which goes down into my blue tummy.
And if I had a blue drink, it was going to be called the Blue Senate.
Boom.
Republicans.
Anyway.
All right, anyway.
So follow us on all the things, at Drinking Cosmos on Twitter, Cosmos with Cosmos everywhere else, and follow, and, you can listen to us on the Spotifys and any podcast platform, or just watch us on the YouTubes,
Wherever you kids get your things.
If you're also browsing on the interwebs, as nerdy elder millennials say now, you can also find some cool artwork from one Katie Davison fan on Etsy, Wild Ixia, Wild Ixia. Check out a good buddy of ours in the planetarium field, Ron. Well, he wasn't in the planetarium field, but he's a fantastic teacher, a fantastic educator. The Mr. Proctor show, he's really fun, outgoing, fights for the people, and supports the youth of tomorrow. And of course, if you're in Iowa,
Near Nebraska.
I did it, Jack. If you're in Iowa, check out the Rolling Bluffs Planetarium, rollingbluffsplanetarium.com, and get a show by the awesome, amazing Jack. All right. Jack doesn't have a drink today.
He's making chilies for school tomorrow. What?
Vegetarian
Why didn't my
sausage.
teachers ever do that
Wait,
shit?
I'm sorry. Vegetarians, he's making this. Vegetarian sausage with lingonberry jam for one, and the other is maple syrup with cayenne and smoked brisket.
Damn, well, you're getting everybody.
So he doesn't just make good drinks.
I'm telling you,
Some
man.
good food.
He needs to be like he needs to be the bartender and the chef for...
Yeah, we'll just have like a little Jack cabin, and then him and Dog Jack can hang out and make things.
We'll look for that. We'll add that to the list of things to look for.
Yeah. Anyway, rules for the show, as always. If you hear some dogs barking, take a drink. And if we get nerdy and make any Star Wars or Lord of the Ring references, also take a drink or eat some sausage. Jack.
Or if you want, just take a drink. It's fine.
Just get some water.
Whatever you are drinking.
All right. Time to get, as I like to say, high in the sky. And I can give like just a dramatic or comedic or just stupid is what it usually is. Pause. I'm gonna take it.
Oh yeah, when the pause happens, you know that something's coming, and it's just
always genius.
And you just wait.
All right, so planets. If you go outside in the evening time after the sun is set, because the sun obviously obscures the rest of the space views from us being so goddamn bright.
Yeah, well, that and the atmosphere, yeah.
Yes. If you go out at night, of course, there's a whole treasure trove of sparklies up there that you can
is that the official term?
Yes, sparklies.
Sparklies?
They're sparklies.
In every scientific publication, it's sparklies.
Henceforth, they are now sparklies.
Sparklies.
As decreed. And there is a very bright sparkly on the southern horizon. Now, you need a pretty clear horizon to...
It's that way, by the way.
It might be that way then.
Fomalhaut?
No, I'm just saying. It's a star called Fomalhaut in the constellation Pisces Austrinus, so the southern fish. And it's the 18th brightest star in the sky. And there's no other bright stars that are kind of near it, so it has a nickname of being the lonely star. Which I think is kind of sad.
Yeah, but it really sticks out. So
it'll stick out.
Being lonely though,
yeah.
you can really spot it.
Yeah, it's twice the mass of the sun and 16 times more luminous than our sun, and it's about 440 million years old.
Okay, so
it's a very young star.
440 million?
Yeah.
220 million years ago, the dinosaurs were just popping out. So,
well, that's what it said. 440 million.
No. I'm just saying, it's like that is really recent.
Uh-huh.
That is really recent.
Yeah, so it's a younger star, and hanging out near it, the only other bright objects you're gonna see are Jupiter and Saturn. They're kind of flanking it, I suppose. Jupiter's in the southeast in the early evening, and yellowish Saturn is to the south. So basically, on the southern horizon, you see three bright objects. They are a star, Fomalhaut, and Jupiter and Saturn. And to distinguish between them, Jupiter will be the brightest of the three, but also the planets don't twinkle like the sparklies. They don't sparkle.
That's true.
They don't sparkle.
That is true. They don't.
They shine.
They shine. They don't.
They shine
sparkle.
with reflected sunlight, but they don't twinkle like stars do, and that's because of how our atmosphere interacts with that starlight. It bends it, and so you see this twinkling happening as the light is being bent through kind of a turbulent atmosphere.
Yeah, you're seeing the turbulence of the atmosphere, and so the stars are for us, they're basically just little points of light in the sky, but like the planets have little tiny disks, and so it's
because they're just reflecting that light. They're not making that light.
And so just because they're a little bit bigger, they're disks, then the atmosphere, turbulence in the atmosphere doesn't affect them as much.
So you can find them hanging out southeast to the south, and that's all month long. They'll be Jupiter and Saturn, the two big guys in the sky, two gassy big boys. Will be up for you to see, and also up all month long is the infamous God of War.
Mars.
I was gonna say Aries. I was gonna go Greek with it.
Well, I mean,
because then I was like, wait, what is it really?
Yeah, but I took Jack out, puppy Jack, out the other morning, and the moon was right next to Mars. It was great. So it was just a thumb separation between the two, and
nice.
It was it's kind of cool.
Yeah, so Mars rises in the early evening, mid-evening, and it's bright right now, but it's going to be getting brighter as it gets closer to us. It's coming to say hi, not literally or physically in any way, but it's just it's getting closer to us, and so then it brightens.
Yeah, and what do we call that?
Opposition.
Yeah, when it is directly opposite the sky from the sun, it is called.
And that
opposition.
happens on December 8th. December 8th is when opposition will be. Yeah, but actually, I think it's a few days beforehand, or it's like November 30th is when it's actually the closest to us and will be at its brightest, is what I had read. But then I was a little confused on, because it was like a few days before opposition, it will actually be at the, and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at that.
So yeah, but anyway, so December 8th is when opposition is, and it'll be high in the pre-dawn sky. So
what's it gonna be?
High in the pre-dawn sky. So if you're up in the wee.
So basically, when the sun
hours.
sets, Mars is gonna rise on December 8th, and so yeah, looking forward to that.
That's cool.
And if you actually look at it through a telescope, it'll be the best time to look through it. Through a telescope, because you'll actually be able to see, like, kind of greenish. Well, it's gonna be darkish little markings. Areas on the planet
surface. Yeah.
Yeah, and so. And that got Percival Lowell into believing there were aliens and shit. But,
the canales.
The canal.
The canal. Oh, I'm sorry, Federico. I apologize immediately for this. I'm gonna do it again though. Canales, which he thought were ancient canals that were structures built by some intelligent species.
Federico's never watching us again. I have to work with him.
And then I would make the joke in the planetarium. I'd be like, not cannolis. That's a delicious Italian treat.
Yes, and I am part Italian, so maybe I can get away with it. Maybe.
I don't think that's how.
No, I don't think that's how it works.
All right. Oh, there we go. Oh, thank you, Federico. So another event coming up is a meteor shower, the Leonids.
Hey!
And this comes from the comet 55P, Temple Tuttle. Gin and Tuttle. Oh, yeah. And so we're passing through the debris of its tail, and it's called, these meteor showers are named after their specific constellations, because that's where it appears the origin point is for these meteors. It just looks as if it appears from originating from that constellation. So the Leonids will appear to be coming from Leo the Lion. And for meteor showers, of course, in the midnight hours, really dark skies. And you just want to kind of look up and not really focus on anything,
right?
And you can catch them easier, kind of almost like using your peripherals, like when you have to look at, like when you look at Andromeda Galaxy, which is up now in the sky in the constellation of Andromeda. When you look at it through a telescope, and it doesn't have to. You don't have to have like a Hubble to see it. Really, actually, you just we could see it with like our.
You really don't need
like
Hubble
a
to see it.
10-inch telescope. You know.
Yeah, a pair of binoculars will show up pretty well.
Yeah, and so what's it's actually easier to spot it, not looking directly straight on at it, but actually just look a little bit to the side of it, and it'll resolve better.
Yeah, it's called a vertivision.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I tell you about the because you're bringing up meteor shower?
Mm-hmm.
Did I tell you? Okay. All right. Two things. First, if you're gonna watch a meteor shower, it's always best to watch it after midnight, like Liz said.
Yes.
So basically, just get on the hood of your car,
get some blankets,
and look up.
Don't light a fire.
No, and what are the two? It's Perseids and the Geminids. So the Perseids are in the summertime, so that's in August.
Geminids.
That's a big one. And
Leonids.
And then the Geminids in December are really big as well. But
the Leonids, they can produce an average of like 15 meteors per hour. I mean, this varies, of course, like, you know, when the event's actually happening, but this, you know, on average. The moon is going to be about 36% full, so that's gonna kind of obscure it a little bit. Yeah, but what's interesting is every 33 years the Earth actually passes through a denser part of that tail, and so they actually become more vibrant there's more meteors per hour.
Is that this year?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not this year.
But you know, like 36% brightness. I mean, the moon. That means the moon's rising. What? Maybe like around 3 a.m. ish.
Yeah.
And so you still have a few hours.
Yeah.
Did I tell you about? I think I did. But did I tell you about the bolide that went through the atmosphere? Obviously, because it's a bolide, but hit this dude's house in California and like burned it down.
That was the other day, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned it, yeah, but...
Yeah, so, all right, this is not going to happen. Now watch it happen. But this is not going to happen. So there was kind of a big chunk of rock. And, I mean, it's not really that big. Maybe baseball size, really.
Baseball space rock.
Maybe a little bit bigger, that actually went through the atmosphere, and people all through like California and parts of the West saw it, and it hit this dude's house, and it burned it down. Where did I tell you it was? It's somewhere in Nevada County, California, and so it burned the house down. He said if it had been 30 feet closer to him, it probably would have hit him or something. So it was really close. He called it a burning basketball from the sky.
Burning basketballs from space.
Yeah, so guys just throwing
burning basketballs. You know what's interesting is that nobody has ever been killed by a meteor impact. There's been some injuries.
Oh, yeah.
But there hasn't been a single meteor that's like hit somebody.
No, there is a myth, a legend, whatever, that a meteor killed a dog, that it hit a dog and killed it.
I don't believe that.
But in the 1950s, I think it was the 50s or the 40s or something, the lady who got hit by it came through her house, bounced all through her living room and hit her, and they showed this like huge ass bruise on her.
Down, yeah.
Was it like was it on her leg, or was it kind of... Anyway, she got hit by it. She got hit by a space rock. And I'm sure they took that rock away. She could have had $1 million for it.
Man. I would like to point out Jack's comment. He has an old school dial radio to listen for the fits of the micrometeors burning up in the atmosphere. That's cool.
I should have put my hearing aids in. What did you say? The listen for the what?
The like the fits.
I can't hear that.
You can't hear me say that?
No.
Fits.
Okay, I heard that like a little bit better.
You know, like a...
Yeah, I thought about putting my hearing aids in.
Okay, you should put them in. Anyway, micrometeors burning up in the atmosphere. That's cool, Jack. It's like when there used to be static on TV, and once I found out that like 3% of that is Big Bang, left over from the Big Bang.
Yeah,
I'm just like, it's like, okay, the static's cool to watch now.
It is, and especially like if you're like high or drunk or whatever, then it just like takes on. So, like in the 60s when Timothy Leary is saying, like, tune out, he's watching the Big Bang. That's all he's wanted
That's
to
what
do.
the Poltergeist girl was saying.
And
When she said
she's
they're
like-
here, she was like, the Big Bang.
Yeah, exactly.
My dad would like to comment on my shirt. My dad says Pluto was never forgotten because it never went away. And that's very true. Dad, Pluto did not go away. It did not go away. It's still thriving in its spot in our solar system. Doing its thing as a dwarf planet.
Yes. And, it'd be great if, like, Jack or Federico could respond to this. But, all right, so in a planetarium show, in the planetarium community, like, okay, so when they demoted Pluto, people got mad at me.
How dare you?
As if I was involved in the
Yes.
decision.
Yes.
And I told people, I'm like, I agree with it. It. However, I did not vote. I did not vote on this. And, really, don't be mad at me. Call your congressman.
But you're the planetarium guy. You control the cosmos.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to some constellations. We have, which is something I never actually really ever talked about in the planetarium, and wasn't. I guess I never really knew that much about it because I don't think it's that prominent of an asterism to see.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the winter hexagon. And so the winter hexagon is made up of some bright stars in the sky: Capella, Aldebaran, Rigel, Sirius, Procyon, and Pollux.
6.
So Capella is in the constellation of. Do you remember?
Wait a minute, who?
Capella.
Orion.
That's
The
right,
cherry
right.
too.
That's right. The weird eagle. Aldebaran in Taurus. Rigel in. God, I can't remember.
Rigel? Orion.
Orion. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, but I was like, my brain is not Sirius in
Canis Major.
Canis Major, Procyon, and Canis Minor, and Pollux and Gemini. And
Beetlejuice. What is Beetlejuice in?
Orion. It's his armpit. So Beetlejuice is within the hexagon, actually. So it'll be very bright inside of this hexagon of bright stars.
What does Beetlejuice mean in Arabic?
It's an armpit.
Armpit of the giant.
Yeah,
Yep.
armpit of the giant.
Very literal.
Okay.
Everybody was so upset about Pluto. It's like, holy crap, there was so much connection. All right, so for
Yes.
everybody who's just watching this, in the chat, amazing. How many people were so upset about Pluto? Everybody. Kids.
Jack's students wanted to lead protests in Geneva.
I mean, there has never... it is insane.
I like Federico's answer was like, you don't have to learn as many names now.
No, you just gotta remember 8.
You just gotta go to nachos. You
Just
don't
gotta
gotta
do
make up
nachos.
whatever it is to get to pizza.
Amazing Mom made nachos or whatever. I don't know what it is,
No.
but
My very
energetic mom just something
to nachos.
served us nachos.
Served us. Oh yeah, Uranus served us nachos.
Yeah, like if Uranus were go away, the only people that would be upset would be middle schoolers.
Oh God! I mean, no, we would all. I think we'd all be a little bit like, but
I would be in the streets.
we all laugh at Uranus jokes.
We do,
It
we
doesn't
do,
matter.
but-
We all. Okay. Anyway.
This is great
Let's get
hangover
back on track.
shit.
Let's back on track. The winter hexagon, and Mars. Will also be inside of the winter hexagon, so
Oh, that's cool.
you can use Mars or
I
the
didn't
winter
read that in the
hexagon
notes.
to find Mars. Yeah, and then you can do a little comparatology work and just compare the colors of Mars and
Oh, yeah.
Aldebaran and
The winter sky has more of the brightest stars in it,
It does,
than
it
any
does.
other season. And you're able to really just see those colors.
it's very colorful.
It's very
Very
colorful.
colorful
Beetlejuice, when people say, Beetlejuice is red, no, it is like a brilliant red. And it's,
That was a red giant.
It is a red giant, but
It's gonna
it's
pop on
close
out
to
of
us.
here.
Yeah.
Hopefully soon.
Oh my gosh.
Come on, Beetlejuice, explode!
And yeah, so when like Beetlejuice dimmed,
Oh yeah,
oh
everybody
God,
freaked
we were
out.
like all excited.
Here
Is this
it
it? Is
is.
this it? Is this? Yeah. I'm gonna go out every night and look at it.
And for those of you that need a little bit more context, Beetlejuice is a red giant. It is
Massive.
running out of fuel. It's gone through its life, exhausting those fuel sources, and eventually it's gonna hit iron in its fuel making. But iron, well, it doesn't release energy; it consumes energy, and so as basically these stars start like eating themselves. And it causes you lose this balance between the outward force of gravity, inward force of gravity, and the outward push of radiation, and then gravity will take over, and bam.
Yeah, and it's a really fast thing. So basically, it starts converting iron in its core. And like Liz says, it absorbs energy. Yep. It says, give me some energy. And so all of a sudden, the radiation gets turned off, and it's just gravity. And gravity just pulls that star in. And it rebounds off the core. You get this shock wave that just destroys the star, destroys the planets in the solar system, if there are planets, which there probably are, and just really lights up our sky. And if it's really close to us, which we've talked about, it actually can impact life on Earth. But Beetlejuice is far enough away.
But Beetlejuice, when it does go supernova, and these supernovae are type 1A supernovae, right?
Yeah, I believe this is type 1A.
It will be as bright as the full moon in the sky.
Yep.
So we're going to notice it. And I hope I'm here for it, but chances are we will be long dead by the time it.
Yeah, but it's gonna happen relatively soon. And when Liz says that it's gonna be bright as the full moon, what that means is you can take a book outside for you guys who don't know what books are. They are these things that actually have paper in them, which I don't actually do, but because I have a Kindle. But you can open it up and turn the pages. Your mom loves that. But
yes.
Your mom would be able to go outside on a moonless night and read from her book. It'll be so bright.
Thanks to Beetlejuice.
So that's... I really hope that happens in my lifetime.
Oh, God.
I'll probably be blind.
It won't. But, I mean, if Beetlejuice, it's 600 light years away, though, so for us to see it, it would have had to have happened, 600 years ago. Now, that being said, say it literally supernovas right now, we won't see it for 600 years.
Yeah, and now, that 600 years, let's put that in perspective. When you go out tonight and you look at Beetlejuice, the light that enters your eyes left that star before racist Columbus bumped into North America. So, and basically just created this entire nightmare for Native Americans. Yeah, and so it was before North America was discovered by Southern Europeans, because the Vikings actually ran into it many years prior. But other than that,
and I know I bring this up every time we mention shit like this, but that's one of my favorite parts of astronomy is looking. Looking. Your eyes are time traveling. You know,
that's a great way of saying it. Even looking at the moon. You're looking at it 1.25 seconds ago.
Yeah.
We have completely gone into hangover, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I think it's good informative stuff for a High in the Sky, because now you have more to think about when you find Beetlejuice outside. Now you can think about, are you gonna explode?
Yeah, we'll see next year.
Yeah, Mom.
So the question is, but what if it happened 559 years ago? Will we see it next year? Yes, it'll be next year.
All right, so speaking of, Beetlejuice is the armpit of Orion. Orion being a great hunter in Greek mythology. And normally I like to talk about Orion a little bit more towards wintertime, because it's up earlier in the evening. But I think that Orion is maybe in the northern hemisphere, strictly speaking, and maybe even the southern hemisphere because it gets a lot of like screen time and everything.
No, it does get a lot of
but
screen
I would say
time.
it's the most recognizable known constellation in the sky because it's made of such bright stars that form a really kind of distinctive pattern.
Yeah, it's that
it's
iconic
that belt.
It's the rectangle with the belt.
Yeah, we're drawn to seeing patterns and a nice straight line like that. Or fairly straight line of bright stars ends up drawing your eyes, and then it's also surrounded by its other stars like Betelgeuse that are bright that kind of can form various easy shapes and it stands out.
Yeah, I always said it's one of the real few constellations, probably maybe like 3, that actually look like what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah, it does. Like a guy's got his bow, he's got a
I mean,
shield.
you can literally see the bow.
Uh-huh.
The shield. You can see the shield. He's holding the shield, but you can see.
Well, it can be either. I've heard it either or. I mean, there's 50 billion
and so
variations
he's got the shield or bow, whatever. And you can see his head and his other arm, and it's great. It's awesome.
But of course, Orion is Orion. Federico says Orion has the layout of the typical Italian mocha coffee machine.
Well, we need to change it. We need to change it.
That's the modern Orion.
But no, all right, speaking of modern, there was a movement in the 80s or 90s by some dude in Kentucky. They wanted to rename all of the constellations, and Orion was going to be Moses. No. I mean, it's like, dude, seriously? I mean, Orion is the most prominent one. You can go with Moses? You're not going to go with Jesus, who's your
these
man?
These aren't just American names for the constellations. These are worldwide name designations.
Let's be honest, though. Let's be honest. Most Americans think that they're the only thing in the world.
That's true.
And
that's true.
like,
we named it Orion because we like Greece. We know all about it.
And Americans are like, you know what?
I don't know what accent that
Federico's going to be like fine with this. Federico, yeah, America, right? I mean, Italy is part of America, right? No.
Well, I do have what actual real Americans have seen some of these constellations as, because...
I like how you say real Americans, because I have read the notes, so I know what's coming up.
Yes. Those that have been here long before the white man arrived and gave them all smallpox and then celebrated with a feast that we're about to have in a couple weeks. But Native Americans and cultures all throughout the world, we have, like the written records going back to Babylon and Assyria of, interpretations of the night sky and making those patterns and connecting the dots and making pictures that are relevant to explaining your way of life and your culture and the world around you, which is what the primary purpose of constellations are. It's a way for people to explain the world, explain their place in it, while also serving as, timekeeping tools and tools to actually survive in the world.
Right. But to be clear, for modern astronomers, they're nothing more than basically lines on a map. They're like state maps for the U.S. or if you're in Europe. I mean, it doesn't matter because any country has like little states within it, and so basically they're like state maps for the U.S. or country lines on a map, and that's really all they are. And the only significance they have is if Betelgeuse were to go boom, they would be like supernova in Orion. And that's it.
Yeah, but throughout history and time, people have made these stories because I'd say we don't really need the stories now. We can use it as a map. But so we're going to highlight a couple of ways that Native Americans have seen the night sky, and so Orion was known by the Ojibwe people as Bibun Kionini.
Well done. Well, I was fretting that when I saw it, and I was really like, I really hope.
I'm sure my pronunciation is all wrong because look at me. But
I think you did great.
he's known as the Winter Maker. And this makes sense because Orion rises in the winter, and so you can tell when you start to see Orion, oh shit, winter is coming.
Yeah, so, but to be honest, when we were in Phoenix, we loved seeing it.
Oh yeah, because
we
we're
wanted the Winter Maker to come.
Like spring is coming in December, yay!
Yeah.
So it includes the familiar stars of the Orion that we know of now, but it actually, the Winter Maker has outstretched arms, and so it also includes Procyon in Canis Minor, and Aldebaran in Taurus.
Mm-hmm.
So his arms reach out to those bright stars, and so the Winter Maker is said to be a skilled canoeist that ushers in the cold and winds that characterize the season. And
I do love me some cold winds.
Yeah.
Not strong cold winds, but I do like some cold. Mm-hmm. I like for the cold to come in.
Yes. You like it when the Winter Maker comes up. You're like,
you know who doesn't
there's
like the cold?
My man Bib right there.
Puppy Jack does not like the cold.
Like the cold, no. But by the Chinook tribe in the Pacific Northwest, it's actually seen as a canoe race.
Oh, nice.
And so the Orion's belt is a big canoe, and Orion's dagger so it's like a little bit under the belt, is the small canoe. And the race is to see who can be the first to catch a salmon in the Blue River, which is the Milky Way.
Oh, that's cool.
And the little canoe is winning the race, and the fish that they're trying to catch is the very bright star in the middle of the river, Sirius, the brightest star in Canis Major.
Yeah, which, by the way, you can use the belt. The
Orion.
belt points to it. So the belt actually points to 2 stars. So if you go to the south and east, it is Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky. If you go to the north and west, it is Aldebaran, the eye of the bull.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's my planetarium show for today.
There you go. All right, so some other familiar constellations that are up, which we mentioned a couple of these last hangover, but it's Pegasus and Cygnus. So Pegasus, the winged horse, you can look for the great square of Pegasus, which makes up its body. That'll be high in the sky. And so Pegasus is known as Moose. Or Moose. And Cygnus is Ojibwe Jijak, or the crane.
That is just so fucking well done. From a from a white guy who really has no idea how to pronounce those words.
I don't know how it's. I'm just reading it phonetically, really.
We're gonna get it.
So the moose provides food, clothing, and shelter, and the crane inspires strength and determination.
Okay.
Now I find that funny though and interesting because the crane, which is Cygnus the swan for the Greeks, so another bird, and the story of Cygnus is that he jumped in a raging river to save his friend, which I would say also takes strength and determination.
Yep.
So it's interesting that those two stories kind of relate for that figure. Where the same shape is also seen.
You know what explains that? Aliens.
It's always
ancient aliens.
So also Cygnus, to the Shoshone tribe in Wyoming and southern Idaho, they see a grizzly bear.
Okay.
All right, and the grizzly bear climbed up a tall mountain to go hunting in the sky, as grizzly bears do.
As they do.
And as he climbed, snow and ice clung to his fur and his feet and his legs. Which happens, like if you have like our Aussies that my parents have, they get little snow clusters stuck in their fur. And so crossing the sky, the ice crystals trailed behind him, forming the Milky Way.
Hey!
Isn't that pretty?
It is.
Like the Milky Way is just ice crystals falling off of bear's feet.
But you bring up Aussies in that. Like I had to go to the store today, and there was a car that had a license plate that said Aussie Mom with all these pictures of these Aussies on it. And I was like, your mom's here. Your mom's here. She didn't let us know.
My mom. All right. So moving to the northern part of the sky, just turn around. You turn the sky around.
Which is that way. It's that way for everybody.
It's that way. you have the iconic asterisms of I was gonna burp. The iconic asterisms of the Big and Little Dippers being a part of Ursa Major, the Big Bear, and Ursa Minor, the Little Bear, respectively. And to the Meskwaki and Iroquois tribes in the East Coast and Great Lakes areas, they're seen as the Bear and Three Hunters. So the bowl of the Big Dipper form a bear, and the stars of the Dipper's handle are the hunter. And the tiny star near the elbow of the handle is a small dog named Hold Tight. The dog's name is Hold Tight.
Our next dog is going to be named
Hold Tight.
Our next dog, which will be a German Shepherd, Corgi mix, is going to be called Hold Tight.
Hold Tight. And so in the autumn, when the Dipper's low to the horizon, the blood from the bear's arrow wounds drips on the trees and turns them red and brown.
Yep.
It's sad, but also it's very poetic.
It is very poetic, and we have a friend of ours that is in planetarium community that we're associated with, Liz and I, that Joe, that actually did this as a story.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's in, we can download it and all that kind of stuff. And so, but I actually do prefer where the bear's not being hunted.
Yeah.
And so there is the whole thing where in the fall and winter, for us here, especially in Oregon, if we were, say, to move to Washington or something, it's even lower. No, actually, it's going to be a little bit higher. For Federico, it's actually lower. But, and so it's like in the fall and winter, it's very low to the northern horizon. It actually dips a lot below the horizon.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's hibernating. Like bears do in the winter time. And that way nobody kills a fucking bear.
Yeah.
But, I get it. I get it. That's what they do. They hunt.
It's what they had. It's part of the culture. Now, for my favorite Native American story, we're going to go back over to Taurus the Bull, which is hanging out near Orion the Hunter. So the very iconic belt of Orion, as Mike pointed out earlier, to up into the east, west, up and to the left. You'll hit the reddish orange star, Aldebaran.
It's to the right.
As to the, I don't know how.
Yeah,
I guess it depends on.
All right, we've had drinks.
Simulate the sky.
All right, so we're facing south. Wait a minute, hold on.
Just
this
go.
Is Orion.
Just follow Orion to the that way.
And so it's to the right.
It is to the right.
It is to the right.
You're correct.
It's
up
to
and
the
to the
right.
Aldebaran, and he's in the star is in this cluster of stars that looks like a V, which is the face of Taurus the Bull, and that's a star cluster called the Hyades. And then more to the right, there's a little star cluster that looks like a little mini itty bitty dipper, a micro dipper, if you will, and that is the Pleiades.
What? Wait a minute, why does that sound familiar? Oh, Subaru.
The logo too, Subaru, is the Pleiades star cluster. The Seven Sisters, Subaru is Japanese for that. And the Western Mono tribe in Central California, they call the Pleiades the Seven Onion Sisters.
Yeah.
And so the tale goes that there are these seven sisters, and
I thought they were wives.
Well, there are wives, but they're also sisters, but they're not sister wives. Mormons haven't gotten there yet.
We're coming.
But they all live together in the same tribe, right? So there are these 7 women who are sisters, and they are cooking onions because that's all they have to eat right now. Their husbands, the men of the tribe, are out hunting for some substantial food, and so they're cooking away and eating all these onions while their husbands are gone. Well, a few days, weeks, whatever you want, later, the husbands come back, and their wives just smell like onions. Just breath, it's coming out their pores. They just smell like onions. And so they do what they think is rational, which is they said, women, get out. They kicked them out of the hut. They were like, you got to sleep outside. Now, imagine being a woman who has just been waiting for food to be brought to you, and all you can eat is onions because there's no other sustenance, and then you get told to sleep outside. Your husband has the audacity to kick you out of the hut just because you smell like an onion?
Meanwhile,
Wow.
there are whole regions of the U.S., like Texas, that happens today.
Well, as you can imagine, they were not happy about
Nope.
it. So they were like, you know what, ladies? We don't need these men. And so they decided just to go up into the stars and live in the sky. Now, eventually, the husbands got lonely. And so they were like, well, I guess we fucked up. So they followed their wives into the sky, becoming the Hyades.
Man, how did they get up in the sky?
Oh, magic.
No, they built a magic rope. Yeah, so you got half of it right.
Oh,
They-
that's right.
they
I
made a
forgot about
magic
the rope. I forgot about the rope part. Anyway, so now their husbands, the Hyades, are forever chasing after the wives
and
to
guess what?
beg their forgiveness.
They never get
They
there.
never get there. They never catch them. They're never forgiven.
Well,
Anyway.
they never get there.
Yeah.
The wives may have forgiven them, but they're like,
no, the
"We're
wives are
out."
like, no, we're good. So I just always thought that was a fun one. I always loved to tell that one. 'Cause
so
it's
much
just such an
so.
interesting.
Didn't we made a story of it? Didn't we? Didn't we?
No, I think we were thinking about it, but we didn't. I don't think we made an actual. One
Jack's
of
like
it.
they climbed up Devil's Tower.
All right, so that's the sky for now, for the upcoming few weeks or so. So go outside, check it out.
Yeah,
See what you
definitely
can
check
find.
it out. If you have a telescope, definitely check out the planets. Mars now,
Maybe
because it is
binoculars.
moving. Yeah,
Although,
binoculars.
how many people have binoculars these days?
No, but you know what? I did used to tell people. So people would come up to me and ask me, "Hey, what is the best telescope to get?" And
Well,
of course, I have
At
opinions.
the time, Hubble.
Well, that people can technically afford.
Right.
And first of all, I don't know, and will never ask anybody's economic status or anything like that.
Telescopes are expensive.
But
So,
but the problem is that a lot of people they want to give their kids a telescope, and I love that idea. But I would tell the parents,
you have to
go
set
out.
expectations of what they're gonna see with the
Yes, and I
price
was
of
like,
the
you know
telescope.
what? Just right now, what you need to do is, because you're new to this, is because you're asking me this question. If you weren't new, you wouldn't ask me this question. Get a pair of binoculars. Sure, binoculars are not the steadiest thing in the world, but
All I see is my eyelashes.
the worst thing that can happen is for a telescope that is bought end up like in the attic mothballed.
Oh, right. Yeah,
And
yeah.
because people they're trying to aim it towards Mars and they can't get it on Mars, or Mars moves out the way because it is a chain store bought
Yeah,
telescope.
you gotta have one that's tracking.
Yeah.
At the very least, you have to have
First
one
of
that's
all, and this is no slight to Target or Walmart, but please do not buy your telescopes from Target or Walmart or anything like that, that chain store, because the optics are not great. And
You need to have a good light bucket.
you do need but that light bucket, I mean, you can have a 20-inch telescope, but if your lenses are shit, then
okay.
it's meaningless. It's meaningless. And so the reason why the telescopes are so cheap, or inexpensive, I should say, at some of these
Because of bad
stores
optics.
is because of the bad optics. And so don't buy them from there. Get your sweatshirts from there. But whatever.
And I gotta say, it makes the stores look pretty bad. Bad optics.
What I love is you do it the pause, and then you explain what you did, which means it didn't work.
I don't care. I was going to throw that in there.
And just in case you don't know, bad optics. But anyway, and so I would tell them, get binoculars, and you can learn where things are in the sky, and then you can really build up that interest. And go down to your local planetarium to see where things are. Also, go to your local observatory. You know, a lot of cities have observatories or astronomy clubs that have star parties.
Google star party near you.
Yeah, and the members of these astronomy clubs are just so excited to show you what they have in their telescope. And you know what, to be honest though, we did that, right? When we take out telescopes, we were so excited to show people through the telescope. And then invest in telescope. Because you don't want to invest in the you don't want to invest in a shit telescope.
Yeah.
You do want it is an expensive investment. Because there are some good telescopes that, in all honesty, are going to cost you over $2,000, but U.S. dollars. But they track, so you can look at Jupiter in the telescope, Saturn through the telescope, step away, take a drink, because astronomy and alcohol are. You know, they go well together. And then look through a telescope again. Saturn will still be there. It will not have moved off. And so it tracks with it. Superb optics. And I know Federico's colleague with the astronomy shop. I think maybe Federico
can hire you in the telescope sales division.
Actually, Federico, we might talk. So anyway.
All right. Well, there you go. I mean, it's timely with the holidays coming up, you know. Telescopes are a popular
they really are popular
for people, but you gotta get something that's you can see shit with. All right, on to astronomy news.
Boom, boom, boom.
I know I was gonna try and mimic like a news like sound, but then I was I don't know what one sounds like boop 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 boop.
Oh yeah,
one of those.
Like with the the Earth with the plane
with
going
the
around.
Thing going around, and it's like news. All right. First on the docket, I would say the obvious: Artemis 1 launch. Artemis 1 threatened by Hurricane Nancy. Erica.
Ian? I think it's Ian. I think it's Ian.
I don't know.
Will it happen? Is the question.
It's still on the pad. And it's projected that they're going to launch a 2-hour launch window that opens at 1:04 a.m. Eastern on Wednesday, November 16th.
Okay, for everybody in the podcast, that is 11:04 for us here in the mountains, and for Jack in Iowa, I believe, here in Central. No, he's actually in Central, so it's 12:04 for him. It's 12:04. Okay. So 11:04... for us here in the mountains. It is 10:04 p.m. For Oregon, and let me do the math. 7:04 for Italy. 7:04 in the morning on the 16th.
Oh, he's got the better end of the deal.
He does have the better end of the deal.
And the launch.
Yep, 7 a.m.
And the launch countdown will begin on 1:24 a.m. on Monday, November 14th.
Okay, it's 90 minutes, right? I think it's 90 minutes. The
that,
window is 90 minutes.
Yeah, but I don't know why the countdown starts on Monday, but the launch isn't until Wednesday.
Oh, but they do 800 hours of the countdown.
Okay. All right, I get it.
Brandon says that I can hear you, but hey, but he doesn't.
He can't hear us. He can't hear us. He says he can't hear us. Next is a little, I was going to say little known mission. I don't know how little known it is, but it's the Psyche mission to the asteroid Psyche.
What?
This is an AS.
They named it after the same thing?
That's like wearing the band's t-shirt to the band's concert.
Wait a minute, what?
You don't like wearing the band.
Oh, yeah.
The band's. Anyway.
No, I completely get that. I just didn't hear it.
It's gonna study this asteroid. This is actually an ASU project.
Arizona State
State University project. I'll claim it as my alma mater then, in that terms. But it's been delayed. It missed its flight launch window. And so because of like some programming, its flight software issues with, its flight software wasn't done on time or something.
You know what they need? Digital.
But as a result, that has unfortunately delayed the Veritas Venus mission to 2031 at the earliest.
Which isn't too far away, but still. I mean, it's hot. It's hot there. Do you really want to go there? It's hot.
I don't want to go. I want to send metal. I want to send robots.
You want to send
metal.
Metal.
Metal that can
t-shirt.
take pictures.
I want to send metal that takes pictures.
I want to send metal. All right. In other news, sorry, I gotta adjust my nose piercing here. All right. A black hole has said hello.
Hi.
It's made its presence known to us for the first time.
Nice. Welcome to the universe.
It's in a dwarf galaxy that's 1 million light years away, and it just shredded the fuck out of a star. And in doing so, that high energy, that flare of radiation was observed, and so it's known as a tidal disruption event.
Yeah.
A TDE. Yep. And the Young Supernova Experiment, YSE, it's an astronomical survey that detects short-lived cosmic events like supernova explosions, and it detected it as the black hole first began to devour the star.
Nice. This is very Halloween, by the way.
I know. Well, this black hole is around... This is a big gap.
It is a big gap.
100,000 and 1 million times the mass of our sun.
But to be fair, it is based on a very small number of observations.
Yeah.
And so you do need more observations because that's how fucking science works. It's how science works.
Yeah. Basically, it's a mid-sized black hole in a dwarf galaxy, and there's not really enough known about really the evolution of supermassive black holes. So this is going. Studying this can help astronomers kind of maybe study further into how supermassive black holes form, because the current theory is that, or hypothesis, I don't know,
it's hypothesis
as these dwarf galaxies are merged or swallowed by, galactically cannibalized by, larger galaxies, then these mid-sized black holes within them cannibalized each other and then growing in mass. And it's like a chain process of mergers and shit that then form these supermassive black holes.
Right. So, now, I'm going to say that if it really is 1 million times the mass of the sun, you're really on the low end of supermassive black holes. 100,000.
No, they're not claiming this to be a supermassive black hole.
No. They're saying it's a mid-sized.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm going to argue that
1 million times is like, you're skirting.
You're kind of close. You're kind of close.
You're already there, basically. It's like one more taco. And
it's like a 1980 definition of a planet. It is... It is, hey, how I'm feeling for the day.
Right. Well, and that's why getting these observations are important, because really there's not a lot that's known about, I'd say, black holes, because they're possibly one of the hardest things to study in the universe. Given that light is what we need to study shit with, and they don't give it off. So we rely on, a black hole devouring a nearby star and these other kind of black holes merging and these other events that take place in order to learn about them and try and understand.
So with black holes, you don't see the black hole.
Yeah, you see the
effects.
Yeah.
And nowadays though, you can actually see the event
horizon. But you see the effects of the black hole. You see something funky's going on over here. There's some weird gravity shit.
Yeah, and even seeing the event horizon though, it takes a lot of computing power and all that.
Next on the docket, we have Fat Neutron. We got Fat Neutron, everyone. Fat Neutron.
Now,
it's an American neutron.
when I saw that in the notes, now okay, so
this is what happened to Jimmy Neutron after 40 years.
So High in the Sky, this is led by Liz, so she comes up with the notes. Next week I'll come up with the note. Well, the next one I'll come with the notes for it. But I read this as like Fat Neutrons. I'm like, holy shit! Is there new physics? Did they discover some shit with a neutron? No, but anyway, go ahead.
Way to like really sell up the story just to immediately just deflate it at the end.
No,
could it be this amazing thing? No, but let's tell you about it.
But this has got some cool fucking physics to it.
It's got cool shit that I don't understand. It's an overweight neutron star, which means it's a neutron star that has more mass than it should have to not collapse into a black hole.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and so in physics,
fancy physics, man, everyone, take it away.
There's going to be a shot dedicated to this. I don't know if it's come out yet. Chandra
Oh, yeah,
star?
it's out.
It's out. Okay, so there was a physicist from India who came up with. He used general theory of relativity to basically define how big a white dwarf can be, how big a neutron star can be, and how big the minimum mass that a black hole can be. And so they discovered this neutron star that is actually bigger than it's supposed to be. So, an overweight neutron star. Now, it did eventually become a black hole.
Yes. Well, okay. Well, let me get to the story.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Gosh, it's called a hypermassive star, produced by the merger of two smaller neutron stars. So two smaller neutron stars were like boop, and they created a neutron star that was too big. I was like, whoa. And so normally, immediately, it would turn into a black hole from this merger. However, this fat neutron was like, I'm going to stick around for an extra second.
Yeah, but if for that extra second, that extra time...
It actually was in view for more than a day.
Yeah, that
before
extra
it faded
day
out of sight.
is like...
So something that would happen instantly was like, I'll give it 24 hours.
But it isn't... It's like the age of the universe for a black hole.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead.
A possibility of what happened is that the star was spinning so fast with such immense magnetic fields that it delayed its collapse, kind of like how when you spin a bucket full of water, that centrifugal force keeps that water in the bottom of the bucket rather than spilling out. And so the sightings were made using NASA's orbiting Neil Gehrels Swift observatory.
Sure, go with it.
Gehrels?
I don't know.
Observatory.
Oh, wait a minute, what?
Gehrels. I just realized gerbils is not a thing.
No.
In names.
Oh, God, that's a Nazi.
No, I thought of like a gerbil, like a
yeah, okay,
gerbil,
right.
like a little creature. And so we detected the initial gamma ray burst coming from a galaxy that's 10.6 billion light years away. 10.6 billion light years away. That means it happened 10.6 billion years ago.
The universe is only, what, 13.8?
That's like, yeah, that's early universe shit. So
what is it?
Early universe shit. This is High in the Sky. So that made the first initial observation, and then a robotic observatory, the Liverpool telescope, which is on the Canary Islands, it automatically swiveled. It's like, oh, hey, something's happening over here, guys. And it revealed the signatures of a highly magnetized, rapidly spinning neutron star. And so, this can help study like neutron stars more, because really the interior of neutron stars is supposed to be exotic matter, meaning
that's pretty much it.
It's made of something and it's in space, so it's exotic, like it's cool.
Yeah, so
it's hot, it's not cool, it's hot. It's hot. It's exotic.
Yeah, Kip Thorne wrote a book, Black Holes and Wormholes? Something like that. There was, I have it. It's downstairs. But anyway, he basically is talking about how wormholes can stay open and you need exotic material to do it.
Oh.
And he told you in the book, he literally says that means we don't know what it is. It is something
like
that we don't know what it is.
It's like
and we
dark
don't.
energy.
Yeah.
Dark matter. Like it's a.
So if
We
you
don't
ever
know.
if you ever see exotic in physics, that means they don't know what it is.
Neat out there. Last article, last bit of news for the day is that scientists have discovered one of the oldest planetary graveyards in the Milky Way galaxy. And I love an old graveyard.
Why couldn't they not have discovered this earlier?
When was Halloween?
2 months ago.
It's a cool white dwarf polluted by planetary debris, rocky debris. So basically you have
So is Earth.
So you have basically, when the sun runs out of fuel, it's not going to make iron. It's not that big. It's not going to explode. It's just going to, like, run out of fuel and then just die its death, where it expands out to about the orbit of Mars, fluffs off its outer layers, and you're left with the core radiating away. Its leftover energy is a white dwarf.
Which is about the size of the Earth.
About the size of the Earth. And so what they found is a cool red-hued white dwarf about 90 million light years away.
Which means it's pretty cool.
That has planetary debris that's polluted with planetary debris. And it's about 10 billion years old.
Okay. Still, the universe is only 3 billion years old at this point.
Yeah. And so white dwarfs, because they're not making their own energy anymore. They're not making they're just radiating away. They're leftover.
All they do is cool.
They're basically slowly cooling down. So when astronomers find a cool white dwarf, it's relatively old. It's been cooling for a long time. I did not get the actual temperature of this white dwarf, which
yeah,
seems
but they
like
said red. They said red. So it's only, we'll say, like 3,000 degrees.
So it's cool. I mean, the surface of our sun is 10,000 degrees, but the core is like 24 million degrees.
Right, and so cool is relative.
Yes.
Here, it's very relative.
So basically, these white dwarfs, they have unusual colors and brightnesses compared to other white dwarfs. Like one, again, is unusually red, and the other one of them is unusually blue. And the bluer one is about 9 billion years old, so it's a little bit younger than the red one. And so basically by kind of studying these white dwarfs and that debris around them, they can figure out the composition of that debris. So whereas the red star's planets, which this is the star is 1 billion years older than the blue one, it had a lot of the blue star, it had, its debris field had a lot of components that were similar to Earth. So it was like, planets that were in similar composition to the Earth.
So a lot of iron, carbon.
Yeah, iron, carbon, probably nickel, just stuff that makes up the Earth primarily. Whereas the red stars had kind of like more of a mysterious composition of debris where there were high amounts of potassium and lithium.
Right, so those are in the lower end of atomic weights, and so by the time that this star died, there just had not been enough of the heavier elements created in the universe at that point, because we're only talking 3 billion years, 4 billion years after the Big Bang. And so you need that time to build up the nickels, the irons,
so
carbons.
You'd have more of these gassy.
Planets
than,
and so
than it would have been.
So you would see that lithium and that potassium and stuff.
A lot of bananas.
Which what do they have? They have positrons.
Positrons. They're radioactive.
Sort of, yeah. But they have positrons, antimatter, anti-electrons.
So I think that's just really cool. It's like, basically, these are former stars that ripped apart their star systems as they died, and now billions of years later we can look at them and go, hey, that one had some planets that were similar to, that was made up of the same stuff as like our planet, and that one that's got some weird shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's another...
And it shows then that, by the time this blue or white dwarf, like, in its formation, like, there was enough time had passed to have more of heavy metals, versus the one that's just a billion years older. That billion years showed that, more heavy metals had infiltrated, had been present in the universe.
Which is another, like, feather in the cap, proof, whatever. It's not really proof, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That our understanding of how the universe should work is actually how it's working.
How it's working. The physics is so far, it's proving itself.
Yeah. And so, yeah. Of course, the best thing is to find something that disproves.
Yes.
Because that means new physics. And I really want new physics.
I know. Well, there's new physics to be had.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like there's gonna pretty much be new physics to be had for a while.
Well, yeah. I mean, we have to unify quantum and gravity, so there's got to be new physics.
Every time we think we're done, we're like, we figured it all out. Then it's like, oh shit, we don't know anything. Start it over.
All right, so...
All right. That's it. That's all we got. We've gone the highest in the skiest that we've canist in this episode.
I love how you did that.
Thank you. So joining us on
December
weeks? 4th. December 4th, we adjusted this episode up a week because we were going to be out of town.
Is it the 4th or the 11th?
It is December 4th.
Okay,
we
December
will be
4th.
having Apollo 17 is the episode. And then possibly the Sunday right after that, we will do December's High in the Sky to compensate for the next holiday that is coming up after this current American holiday.
And we are going to take Christmas off. That is a worldwide. Federico is going to be...
It's family time.
It's going to be celebrating that as well.
Yes.
But anyway, so all right, so it's going to be the 4th and the 11th, and then we'll take the 25th off.
Yeah.
And then whatever after that.
So
we're shooting. We're like going by the seat of our pants here.
That's how we roll here on Cosmos with Cosmos. But follow us on all the things at Drinking Cosmos on Twitter and Cosmos with Cosmos everywhere else. You can listen to us on Spotify, Anchor.fm, and other podcast platforms, or you can watch us and our shenanigans on YouTube. And yeah, otherwise, if you're with us now, stick around for the hangover. Thanks for joining us.
See you in a bit. Bye.
Break! Jack, it sounds delicious, man. Whew, gosh.
I feel like I'm supposed to be wearing my hat.
What hat?
Well, I took Jack out, like Puppy Jack.
Oh, your beanie?
Yeah. So...
I was like, have you gotten so used to that Einstein wig that...
No, it's like...
Oh, I forgot to set up the chat in the... Hang on, I got technical. Look at this. This is typical, just hangover shenanigans right here.
That's what we do.
We gotta fix that so chat can be visible. Boom, and alright. There we go. All fixed.
Did everybody see that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well.
Well, they didn't see what I did on the OBS side of things. Welcome to The Hangover with Cosmos. And welcome back if you are joining us from the main episode live. We have switched drinks. What are you drinking now, Mike? We don't ever talk about our drinks for The Hangover. I thought maybe we could improv some stuff off the top of our heads.
No, this is a Moscow Mule. Basically is what it is. I ain't come up with a fancy name. But it is it's a Moscow Mule, but I am using blood orange ginger beer, which I just happened to discover at the grocery store, and of course it's vodka. Nice. That goes with it. And so, yeah, what do you got?
I should have thought this through. I am drinking Death by Black Hole, and it is.
Oh shit! You came up with the name. All right, well, you know you can't tell. This is Blue Senate right here.
This is the red wave.
Yeah.
As black as their hearts. No, it's just it's a dragon's milk. God, I gotta look at it. Dragon's milk bourbon barrel aged stout. I am apparently becoming a bit of
your dad. Minus Republicanism.
A bit of a beer drinker. And I am surprisingly finding dark beers that I like, where normally I'm not a dark beer
I just
person,
can't do the beer.
This sounds good.
Okay, just so you know, the ginger beer is not like true beer. It's just, I don't really know what it is.
It's like a ginger soda.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't have any alcohol in it. You add the alcohol. But I am coming up with my my Thanksgiving.
Yes, the Davis and George Thanksgiving cocktail menu.
Yes, and so.
We should think.
Do I need to add a beer?
Creative menu name suggestions, everyone.
Do I need to add beer
to
it?
Good and chocolate cake. No.
Yeah,
no,
so
this is your creation of cocktails menu.
And we actually have a couple that are on there already that I think are going to be pretty good. And we tested one out. I should say, like, I tested one out. Liz had a couple of sips of it.
All right.
But which one after Jacqueline? Yeah, no.
One can be the anxiety.
I know, right?
One can be the macho man. One can be the too good for this drink, and then Poe can be a shot.
Yes. I should put some shots on there.
Oh yeah, like the donut one, raspberry donut that we do for.
Yeah, but I have to give it a new name.
Well, yeah.
Maybe some sort of cranberry sauce name, but we did test out this maple syrup old fashioned.
Oh. It's my new favorite old-fashioned.
Prior to the podcast.
It's my new favorite old-fashioned.
Let me just say, don't pregame prior to the podcast.
No, you...
But the thing is, I really wanted to see if it would work.
What could be a black Jello shot?
Hey, oh shit! Now I gotta see if I can make something like that happen.
Yeah, and have it not taste like black licorice.
Oh.
Although that would be fitting. It's feisty.
I hate black licorice though.
It's a feisty flavor. No, but we love Poe, so we don't want to do anything we hate. Because we love Poe.
No,
Anyway, Poe, for those of you, Poe is Katie's cat.
and has murder eyes.
And is all black with the most gorgeous, like, yellow eyes.
They're murder eyes, is what they are.
Oh my god, she just disappears into the darkness, and all you see are these eyes.
Orbs.
Blackberry.
Orbs.
Yeah, blackberry.
Yeah.
That's a good idea, Mom. Oh, Poe's a beautiful cat.
No, it's very, very beautiful cat.
Yeah, I love seeing our cats together. Poe is starting to tolerate Winter, and Winter just wants to be friends. And they do a little paw off.
Yeah, and it's just like, there's
paw
like,
off.
nobody is going to get hurt.
No. Although Poe could cut a bitch.
Well, yeah.
And she has. Not.
Wait a minute, what?
Poe is scratched like Katie, so but then
Okay,
I realized
then
that
you
it
need
implied
to-
that I was
you
calling
need to
Katie a
rephrase
bitch,
that.
and that's not what I was. She gets me. She understands.
Okay, moving on.
See, she's fine. All right. Anyway, this show is about astronomy things. We got excited about stuff that then you were like, oh, this is Hangover, and then we had to get back to the main show, but I can't remember what it was now at this point. But it was in the stars or meteor shower section.
Maybe I don't remember.
I don't know.
This is how the Hangover
This
works.
is how the Hangover works exactly.
So I mean, we can talk politics. That was big news for us.
Oh my gosh. It's too early in the Hangover.
And
to talk about politics.
since Italy is part of America, because the rest of the world is part of America, I'm sure that Federico's
they have
been
the same
following
colors
this.
in their flag.
What?
Because they have the same color in their flag.
Oh, sort of.
Primary
Yeah.
colors.
Yeah. I think they have green in their flag. I think they might have green in their flag.
Federico, if you're still with us, what's in your flag? Because no, it's green, white, and red. Because
Yeah.
Italian.
But the Irish have the same thing, but it's in a different order.
Irish have orange. It's green, white,
Yeah.
and orange.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Oh, this is the portion of the show where we try to figure out country flags and show our ignorance as Americans.
Green, white, and red. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, cool. Sorry that we.
I'm sorry, Federico. I had to think of pizza to get your colors.
Oh
and
wow! I was going to say sorry that we lumped you in with
Napolitano.
Ireland.
Ireland's good. Ireland's fine. They both have great fun accents to American ears.
Do you think this one cracker will
It's
absorb
gonna make a lot of noise in the
alcohol?
microphone. No, it's gonna make a lot of.
I'm just gonna put it back.
We have Ritz, everybody. We needed apparently the veggie platter that I made of broccoli, red bell pepper, carrots, and celery was not enough padding in the tummy for the alcohol.
No, I shouldn't have pre-gained, but I really wanted to taste that maple old fashioned.
I know. It's understandable, and it was worth it.
It's gonna be on the menu.
Yeah, we're gonna be drunk Eldening later, so.
Yeah, we're gonna Elden. We found out that we can have multiple characters in Elden Ring, and it took us
I knew we could. I was pretty sure we could do it. Yeah.
I have always been like, we just can only have one.
You can only create one character in the games
and
of video.
And there was no reason as to why I thought that. I was like, but surely there could only just be one character.
If we move to Oregon and we're close enough to Katie and Adam, Katie, I think it would be fun if we got in on your D&D game. But I know that's with other of your close friends. But just if you need new characters and we're in the area, we're putting that out there that we'd be interested. And I made that decision for you.
But you never played it.
I've never. I know there's a funny dice that has 20 sides.
There's stories.
Anyway, okay. Speaking of, there we go. D&D one shot. Get us into the in crowd of the D&D.
Oh, you need to make some. Oh, we got to get to Jack. You need to make some garlic mozzarella pull apart bread to pregame.
Jack, I don't know what kind of masters of cuisine you think we are, but we are not you.
Oh, what?
But that sounds amazing.
Oh, stop it. Okay, Liz does not give herself enough credit. She does not.
I follow recipes I find online.
The only reason why Liz might have to pull my hair back tonight is that, but the only reason why is because I really wanted to taste the maple old fashioned.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because Monday really through Thursday night, we do not touch the stuff. It's
we
rare.
don't touch it.
It is rare that we actually have drinks, Monday through Thursday.
We just are weekend binge drinkers.
Yeah. And so, yeah.
Jack, you should write a cookbook.
Yeah, you really should.
Oh, 2 biscuits. Ooh, 2 biscuits. I can do some 2 biscuits. Anyway, make them pop. All right.
Yeah, but part of the pop is your reaction to the pop.
You get scared because it's like it's a Jack in the Box.
And it's everybody. It's everybody.
And you go, huh! Even though you're trying.
You have the knife or whatever it is. You're pushing into it.
Push right in that.
You're pushing into it. So it's gonna happen.
Yeah, see, occasionally they really explode. So you're
like,
oh God, is it gonna be me this time? Will this be? What do I put on my tombstone that's funny for Pillsbury Doughboy death?
Oh yeah. So I'm reading this book on mixology.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so I've never noticed this, but it makes sense. But it's always, to me, it was just always naturally just a way that you grab the shaker. And it is a certain way that you do it. So the larger part is towards whoever's getting the drink, so that if it does explode, it explodes onto you. Which, by the way, those drinks that we have with gin drink with the egg actually makes it build up some air pressure in it, and so there is you do have to release the air and then shake it again. But if you didn't, it would explode all over you, and so it's kind of cool. It's interesting.
It's science.
Yeah, it really is science and chemistry and all that, and it's a fun read. And I'm not going to remember 90% of this, but whatever. I might write down there's a hot toddy recipe that I want to add to the Thanksgiving menu. And so, having said that, I have not actually read.
I'm into a hot toddy.
Well, it sounds fun. It sounds Thanksgiving-y.
Well, yeah. Warm by the fire.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the fireplace.
I'm excited. I'm excited for it. Katie's excited about hot toddy.
Well, it definitely has to be on the menu now.
See, okay. The Davison girls, the Davison women are into it.
Have you had one to know that you're in it?
Yeah, I made a hot toddy.
Oh, okay.
I made a hot toddy because I got my teas. It's tea season. I'm excited. It's tea season. I've been drinking my teas during the day. And before bed, I got my before bed teas. And I got my during the day teas. I don't have an eclectic repertoire of teas like one Jack. But they're just the store-bought what I can find that looks good.
Well, your mom has Earl Grey.
Yes, I'm excited.
Hot.
I'm excited. Mom, you have that Earl Grey with the lavender? Because I'm excited to have that when I'm there. Anyway.
This is just pure hangover.
This is not... Yeah, I keep trying to... okay, let's talk.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Back to astronomy.
I will be quiet.
I mean, it was just a high in the sky, so it's kind of like your...
I'll be quiet.
All right, let's talk. Let's do one of Brandon's... No, we're not making the turkey recipe. that I
But
sent.
we should make a Cornish hen this week. Because we talked about it last night.
No, we have to get through our meal
Okay,
boxes. We're
okay,
going to be out
anyway,
of town for
Anyway,
2
go
weeks.
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Brandon question.
It's a Brandon question. Is Artemis going to launch?
They've had what, a month, month and a half
To get our shit together? But then a hurricane has come and been like, hey.
Yeah, but but
they
that
had
was
it
a few
on,
days.
They had it, okay. By the way, Artemis is rated for like 85 mile per hour winds, and the hurricane had it over 100 mile per hour winds. So they have to.
but I think they said it was okay.
They said it was okay. I knew
I
it
think
was
they
like the
said
last
it
thing
was
I read
okay.
was like they're gonna check it out, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, I know what happened to our fence with like 50 miles per hour winds, so.
So I do think it's gonna launch.
Mm-hmm.
The question isn't really Ian. The question is, the issues that they have.
When?
You take a drink.
Okay.
I mean,
Look,
right.
I'm gonna do our drink button because we haven't done it yet.
I actually feel. Okay, so there are a lot of planetariums that have wanted to make, events of this, where hey, we're gonna do a launch party or return to the moon.
Yeah.
But
it's a little hard to do that when with this kind of thing versus a transit of Venus.
Yeah, NASA doesn't give a shit about your launch party.
Nobody cares about your events, people.
NASA does not want
They don't want things
Artemis
to
explode. And so this is the first launch of Artemis, and like Brandon has said, I don't know if it was just to us or here within Cosmos, but he said that they're going to be a little bit more conservative with this.
Yeah, they've spent a lot of money, so it makes sense to be a little bit more conservative.
And the last thing that they want is for it to explode. The downside to this is that Joe Blow down the street is gonna be like, well, Artemis didn't launch. This is just another.
This is wasting my tax
This is
money.
just another reason why NASA shouldn't get no money.
Maybe they should have that Elon character.
Yeah, let's have Elon Musk do this. Whatever. NASA spent a lot of money into this. I do think it's going to launch. I really hope. Believe it or not, folks, I am an optimist.
He's an optimist.
I really am an optimist, and I think it's going to launch.
I pest to your opt.
You what?
I'm the pest to your opt.
I like that. So, what's going to happen on the 15th? Well, for us, it's the 15th.
We're going to stay up real late.
Yeah, for us and for your mom and sister, for Katie, it is that it's going to be on the 15th.
Federico has to wake up
for,
just maybe
for
early.
Jack,
I don't
it's
know.
12 something in the morning. For Federico, it's 7 in the morning. But anyway,
I'm with you there, Mom.
We're going to be up playing Elden Ring, and when it goes up, you're like, woohoo, went up. I mean, we will watch it, and the cool thing is that like maybe 3 weeks later, watch a splashdown of it hitting the Pacific or wherever it's going to hit, and most likely the Pacific because it's bigger, and it's a bigger target.
Go where there's the least chance of hitting land.
Yeah, and I'm joking about this, but to be honest, this is a big thing.
Take that, Atlantic.
This is a really big thing. The last time we went to the moon, we'll talk about it in a few weeks. Apollo 17.
In the 70s?
1972.
I mean,
there was only in all of the...
It's right there.
Yeah, 240,000 miles away. It's
right there.
In all of the history of humanity, what? Let's go.
All of human history?
Yeah, all of human history.
What is it?
There is
several 100,000 years.
Well, yeah. There is a 3-year window where 3.5. Okay. Let's give them credit. 3.5 window.
Our species, is that?
Where we went to the moon. Our closest neighbor in space. And we have not been back since. I mean, 50 years.
Physically. I mean, we've sent robots in our stead.
Right, but at this point, it's been 50 years since we have sent a manned mission to the moon.
Okay,
at this point, we should have some sort
a colony.
Well,
a base.
You know what? A base.
A base.
Let's not even be grand about this and say a colony. Let's just say a little base.
Okay.
That like ISS on the moon that maybe has 10, 15, 20 people on it that are doing science.
That's a lot of people. Hanging
but
out on the moon.
Been there, done that. That is such.
That was it was, we beat the Russians. All right, shut it down, boys. We did it.
Yeah, I just...
Cold War is over now. The Space Cold War is over. No one cares about space exploration anymore.
You know, I know your mom, and I know how she's saying this.
Yeah, she's not saying it as a...
and so I just hate that phrase when it comes to things like this. Been there, done that. It's such a... And I say this as completely an MTV generation person. It is so MTV generation.
What's that?
Where it is...
MTV?
Where it is... Life is in 3-minute clips. And been there, done that. We did Kajagoogoo. Let's move on to Culture Club at this point, and then move on to the next video.
Music videos on the TV?
Yeah, but
where are music videos now? YouTube? Are there music videos still? Where does one find these videos of music?
Yeah, I mean it's Spotify, but it's not even a video. Yeah, but been there, done that. That is such.
Just like so America.
It really is American, but it's not. It's not just American. It really is. It really is seeing the world in a 3-minute clip, and it is.
Well, you know about our attention spans nowadays, right?
Exactly. Thank you, MTV, which I fucking love. I remember. Okay, as a kid. As a kid. My parents...
MTV was the best back in the day.
Okay, so...
When it was actually music television.
Right. My parents did not... They didn't do this.
My parents were very liberal and let me watch a shit ton of anything I wanted to watch, really, basically.
Okay, so my parents... my parents, Rick and Glenda George...
You don't need to say their names on...
Everybody knows them at this point.
TV.
I love them so much. I really do. But they're very conservative, and so MTV was not a thing.
Yeah, you're an outcast of the South.
I am an outcast of the South. But anyway, when I would go up to Rochester, New York, which is where some of my family is located, they did have MTV. And I would sit there like... I would get a year's worth of viewing of MTV while I was there for 2 weeks.
Check out the Headbangers Ball? Headbangers Ball? Is it a midnight Headbangers Ball? Maybe 10 p.m. and then midnight? And then it became like 2 a.m.?
Yeah. But
the real world was on all day.
That is where I got... my MTV. It was up in Rochester, New York, and so
that's where I got the majority of exposure to the music I was exposed to was on MTV and watching it throughout the day.
Oh, but it's late at night though, where you get the real stuff.
Well, no, but I mean, in the early '90s, and it would be like because of like Nirvana was popular, Metallica was popular. I'd see Pantera occasionally during.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, but then also like it was. Like the Snoop Dogg's and the Dre's and, stuff that I don't really listen to now, but I listened to a variety of music when I was in elementary school, thanks to MTV, because I would watch music videos all day.
Right.
And
it would introduce you to it.
Yeah, I was exposed to a lot of stuff that I wouldn't have normally been exposed to.
Yeah.
And then I would just ended up going one way of the spectrum. But
MTV and... certain friends is the reason why I got into punk. You know, it moves you like I know that there was one time. All right, so
How do we get off of space
it
now?
doesn't matter. When Brandon comes over, we'll occasionally play like golf with friends.
Yeah, we
And
rotate through Spotify.
and we rotate through music, and so there was one time where I basically just introduced this, and I said this is the song that just basically I listened to this song and it just sucked me in like a black hole into punk, and it was Black Flag's "My War." And
My war. And the only
Yeah.
reason I know that is because of him.
yeah, and you actually said I could yell it like really well.
Oh yeah, you can do a good punk yell.
And
Yeah.
so, but that is because if you stay up late enough with back in the day,
Well, yeah, you get
MTV.
yeah.
Yeah, and so, and now, you know, to quote in effects, when did punk become so safe? Yeah, but back in the day, you know, Keith Levine and The Clash. You know, a lot of people like, you know, The Clash are like, you know, Rock the Casbah, which is a very like poppy kind of thing.
Rock the Casbah.
Yeah, and, you know, all this kind of stuff, but The Clash is very influential to UK punk. Not so much like what I would consider American punk, which is kind of like New York, which is the Ramones, and then you have like West Coast. This is the original East Coast versus West Coast, but the West Coast would be like Black Flag, and the Circle Jerk came out of that, Minor Threat, the Germs, and things like that.
One could argue that Nirvana was punk.
Nirvana was punk. So punk kind of died in the mid '80s. In the mid '80s, but it came back, and
In a more plaid version.
in a very
A more flannel version.
Thank you, Pacific Northwest. And so it was. It didn't really it didn't go away, but it did
bands like
return.
Nirvana and them were hugely inspired by the punk scene and were
Oh.
involved in the punk scene, like Pat from the Foo Fighters.
Yeah, Pat
was-
Smear.
yeah.
Germs.
Yeah, and the Germs, and
Yeah,
you know,
and-
they were all inspired by that punk
Yeah,
scene.
and so like if the Offspring, if you were to go to an Offspring concert today, Dexter, who's the lead singer, he has a Black Flag.
Give it to me, baby.
Yeah, exactly. He actually has a Black Flag
You're pretty fly.
pin that he actually wears as an homage to you know his inspirations, and so the Ramones, the Clash, and I'm gonna go as far to say that even for like you know Black Flag and the Germs, who are really like skater punk, kind of a punk sound,
Okay, all right.
that the Clash is going to be an influence in them.
Skater, that's not Sum 41?
No,
just kidding, that's
God, fucking no.
I'm
No.
sorry, that was 2000 skater punk.
No, they're,
Skater pop punk.
you know, if you're wearing pads, that's not fucking skater punk. But
There's
if,
no
if I were to
pads
get a
in
skateboard, I'd
skateboarding.
wear
Meanwhile,
pads.
Tony Hawk's like, wear a fucking helmet.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's hit his head quite a bit, but but yeah, I mean, yeah, the Clash was a real influence, at least on UK punk, because like Keith Levine, he was a founding member of the Clash, but he also worked with Johnny Rotten with PTL, and PTL is a little bit more
What's PTL
experimental, public image, PIL. I'm sorry,
okay.
Public Image Limited,
Okay.
and I actually saw PIL. They opened for NXS.
Oh.
I went to Atlanta to see them play, and NXS stopped the show because the fire marshal stopped the show, but PIL opened, and it was so cool to see Johnny Rotten. And Johnny Rotten is a poser right now.
He voted for Trump.
Because he voted for Trump.
Both times.
2 times. Not even.
And was on The Masked Singer on Fox.
And I completely understand the punk mentality on this. What'd you say?
I said, and was on The Masked Singer on Fox.
I understand. But why did he do it? He did it for his wife.
That's true. He did. Sweet.
I understand the punk mentality of it is that, the thought that Trump will, stir things up.
That's not the kind of stirring you want.
That's, Trump is not a punk. He's not going...
No.
He's an asshole.
A
There's a difference.
spoiled, rich little boy with a daddy that never loved him.
Yeah, and so there's a difference between a punk and an asshole. And Trump is an asshole.
Yes.
And
Okay, yes.
So Trump was never going to stir things up.
No.
Not ever.
No, he's going to make the swamp swampier.
Yeah, because it is in his best interest.
With a lot more tanning grease.
It is in his best interest to keep it as is. Because, to be honest, the political landscape in the United States is geared towards rich people.
Yeah.
You want to bring this back somehow?
I have no idea how to bring this back. What I was going to say, though, is that what's interesting, though, is that I really was never exposed to, like, punk until I met you. I mean, my extent of punk, which I was never really into and was kind of like people I was friends with but didn't, like, hung out with occasionally, but I, like, was associated with my core group of friends, but adjacent in a way. Like, it was like Green Day, so it was like, pop punk, but even though Green Day did have its roots in the Bay Area. And I mean, hey, if you're you make it, take that fucking money, like, you're doing the you don't want to starve on the streets for your life, just making music, you want to make the music, make the content you want with the funds that can back it, so right. I don't see, when people are calling people sellouts and everything, it's like, what do you think they're doing this for? To reach a worldwide audience, like, just because they're making money and are mainly mainstreamed, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're selling out in any way. They just now have the funds to support themselves and to then go on other creative ventures and do the things they want to do.
Yeah.
Although, yes, studio recordings might sound a little bit more polished and not...
Polished punk.
Not polished, because let's be honest, the quality of musicianship between punk and, say, metal artists is, some people know how to play guitars, the metalheads. Punks just streaming a bunch of chords in rapid succession and then yelling.
Well, the whole idea behind punk... Okay.
Well, okay. No. Okay, but let me bring this just back a little bit, because it's whereas, like, I don't think that punk was really featured a lot on MTV, because that was where I got a lot of my influences and my exposure to things, and I didn't see Sex Pistols. I didn't see, these more underground punk bands. It's like I saw Metallica, and I saw Nirvana, and I saw Green Day, and I saw Beastie Boys, and I saw the Jacksons, and I saw, Tool, actually, and like I remember a weird ass Claymation Tool music video, and I would say first exposure to music that was really different and out there in my mind that I loved, and I would steal these cassettes from my dad in his little cassette player with the fucking headphones with the foam on them. Walkman. I would take his cassettes of Pink Floyd.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I remember I loved Pink Floyd, and I liked listening to it because it sounded weird.
Right.
It sounded weird and different, and
and
I really liked it. And so that's like my first memory of music, and kind of being drawn to music is like my dad's Pink Floyd cassettes.
Right.
You
right.
know?
Okay, so our guilty pleasure is that we watch The Masked Singer.
Oh my God.
And
so suburban. So white.
It really is. And it has Jenny McCarthy on it.
The most suburban white thing we could do.
And okay, so
Jenny
McCarthy, who's she married to? Mark or
no. Jenny McCarthy. She's married to a Wahlberg brother, not
Mark or
no the other
Daryl?
Wahlberg, the Wahlberg that's not the Marky Mark.
So
Donnie Wahlberg. She's married to Donnie Wahlberg.
Okay, all right. So I don't have anything against boy bands. You know, I don't. Okay. Again,
I will admit a couple, a Backstreet Boys guilty pleasure of mine.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Right, and so what I hate is that it is a commercialization of music, and that now what Backstreet Boys, NSYNC.
Oh, you mean where it's kind of that whole just industrial, like it's just it's like
industrial music.
It's like a factory, like just shooting out the same.
It is industrial music, good looking people singing it.
Yeah.
And
you lose like the meaning, the heart, the like humanity.
Yeah,
of, like,
and I think this is where like metal and punk really shine, because really and truly punk is a really big fuck you to society and everything. And I think metal does the same thing in a much more polished way. In a much more polished way. But what drew me to punk was just the sheer energy and the sheer anger and the sheer fuck you society kind of thing.
I think really it's, and I mean, this is going towards our genres of music that we favor, but it's really any kind of form of music where it's people just, it is artists that are writing about whatever's meaningful to them or, prevalent in their formal life. I mean, the rap artists, I don't know about rap artists today because I don't listen to any of that shit, but like of the early 90s, rapping about police brutality, life on the streets, and it may sound druggy and rapey and whatever, but they're rapping, they're expressing their experiences and their frustrations and their enslavement really to society that they're stuck in, but you can also say for our least favorite version of music, country. But there are, those artists in country that are, they're also writing from the heart and these things that are meaningful for them. And I think that it's when people are writing authentic art, it's this authentic, not that corporate produced stuff, but when it's actual writers and musicians, and when there's bands and people playing instruments, and it's it's people just bringing their hurt and soul, I say loosely, but that makes it I think that's the stuff that like gets people, people can be fanboys and fangirls of Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, but it's like, what's really gonna get to the meat of a person? What is really.
And I don't want to say that like Taylor Swift is irrelevant.
She just shakes it off.
Because she's not. Because she is relevant.
She writes her own music.
She speaks to people.
Yeah, she writes her own stuff. She can play the guitar.
And that is great. And, but the problem is I think a lot of what you hear on the radio.
It comes out superficial.
Exactly.
It comes out superficial.
It becomes superficial. And I think this is the beauty of the 60s was that there was a lot of protest music that happened. This is the beauty of what rap is. Rap, sure, there's a lot of rapey shit.
It's angry as fuck. Well, it's like metal. It's like you sense this frustration with society and with just everything.
If you want to get a sense of where rap started, Public Enemy.
Yeah.
That the greatest concert I ever went to was a U2 concert. Public Enemy opened. Public Enemy. This is in Columbia, South Carolina, by the way. Public Enemy outshone U2 in that show, and it was the greatest show I ever went to. Public Enemy in the heart of the Confederacy, where the state in which the American Civil War started.
Yeah, they shot first.
They hung a KKK effigy from the highest point in the concert, and it was great to watch all these white motherfuckers in this concert not know what to do. They're like,
I was just here for a Joshua tree.
Yeah. Yay!
There's this Irishman. He wears the glasses that look like bug eyes.
Yeah. Right? The bug glasses. So, I mean, it was the greatest thing that U2 and their management had Public Enemy. Chuck D, Flav Flav, open up that show.
Flavor Flav.
Yeah, and they actually, interestingly enough, had one of the members of the Clash actually open before Public Enemy, and so it was a 3-group show. And what I really loved was that they would sing a song. Everything was so seamless, and so they would sing a song, and the bridge between songs had some sort of like musical bridge, but it was seamless, like on the beat, and they immediately went into the next. It was
amazing. Musicians could produce that.
I know.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but I mean, punk and metal and rap, they're all born out of this real fuck you to society. Because it's easy to see the punk and the rap, fuck you, but metal is still metal is still a big fuck you.
Yeah, they're screaming at you, they're yelling at you.
Well, but
but
it's not just that they're screaming and yelling at you. I mean, punk does that, but
they're just more poetic about it.
Yeah, and they're poetic and what they're saying, and the things that they're talking about. Like the joke is like, okay, when Liz starts playing her metal music, I'm like, Satan music, and it's a joke, but
don't even get out of here, younger millennial, Brandon, get out of here with your screamo, your emo. I only take hardcore to a point.
Yeah,
new metal, get the fuck out, kind of.
So, yeah, this is our discussion on music. If you have a chance, check out some like real punk, Black Flag, anything that, anything that Circle Jerks, The Germs, Minor Threat.
Nickelback is not rock. What's
even Nickelback.
My Chemical Romance.
Even Nickelback is like, we did too much.
Don't even mention Limp Bizkit to me.
Oh,
I will murder you.
No, okay.
New Metallica, fuck off. New Metallica, just stop. Just go back to old Metallica. It's fine. You don't have to reinvent yourself. You're perfect the way you were.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with Linkin Park. Especially when you look at some of the...
3 out of... wait, hold on. Never mind.
Okay, I might be romanticizing it because...
wait, I'm sorry. Did you bring up Linkin Park?
Yeah. Okay, I might be romanticizing it a little bit because of where,
No.
because of what Chester did, committing suicide and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and that I think that kind of like changes the way that you see a band, especially you start to reinterpret some of the
I mean, there are
lyrics.
real people.
They are real people, yeah, and so
I will at you. All right, I had their first album, but
yeah.
it's too catchy to be metal. It's rap. It's pop rap rock is what it is. It's
Well,
pop rap rock.
okay. It's but let's define it as it
I
is.
immediately have crawling in my skin going like through my skin now.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they're just basically the same age. So.
I mean, I'm not like if Linkin Park were to come to town, which they're not going to do now, but like if they did, it's not like I would go see them. I wouldn't do that. But it's
But if we can bring back to life a couple members of Pantera, I'm there.
Well, yeah, I mean, sure, but the thing is though, does that then, like, if Kurt Cobain had not shot himself, would
Ooh, what would they be like?
would Nirvana now be Linkin Park to you?
No.
And so,
Never. I mean, yeah, they would probably enter a phase where they were turning out crap like Metallica did, where they tried to keep up with the times and lost themselves a little bit, but then they would probably revert back. But I don't know if I can see them actually doing that. They would probably actually, before they got to that point, break up. And then Kurt Cobain would start a side project, doing his own shit. Dave Grohl would probably end up still starting Foo Fighters, and so there would be a whole different dynamic.
Yeah,
so
I have to say that
I think more greatness would have come from Kurt Cobain not shooting himself than Kurt Cobain shooting himself. But at the end of the day, he shot himself. I mean, and there's nothing you can do about that.
I cannot tell you. So again, I was in Rochester, New York, when I saw the video to Smells Like Teen Spirit, and I was like, holy fuck. In my head,
It's a good video.
punk was back. Punk was back. And I was
It's grunge because it's in flannel.
so happy that punk had returned. And, just, the bangs in front of the eyes. And, just the way that the cheerleaders did it with the anarchy sign on their cheerleader outfit.
Looking dead inside.
Yes. And, I think that every punk will tell you that at least at some level, they're just dead inside. And this was in this 3-minute clip. Well, it's really 4.5 minutes for Smells Like Teen Spirit. It just encompasses that. And, and it's just the band playing and just the starting with the drums and then going right into the guitar. You have you have the cheerleaders, but then this is like at a high school,
Pep
Battle
rally.
of the Bands pep rally
It's a pep
thing.
rally.
And you have these fake ass
follow.
motherfuckers in the stands that are just like, yeah, this is great and all this kind of stuff, and just doing the the head banging and stuff like that. And I was so excited with that video. 4.5 minutes had just never excited me so much in the 1990s and early 1990s. And I went to Indiana Cyclotron facility, and I actually got in a debate with this fellow person that was there about the genius of Kurt Cobain. And he was like, you know what? I read the lyrics, and they're just simple. And I'm like, that's the fucking genius of this. You don't, I mean, and then he actually went and listened to the music, and he came up to me later and said, yeah, this is just brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. The simplicity of it and all that. Well, we missed some AIDS stuff.
Okay, so going to chat here, Jack says he's too old for our bullshit. Actually, no, Brandon
No,
Katie's
but
bullshit.
Peter, Paul, and Mary, though.
Peter, Paul, and Mary, not too old for our bull. Well, I don't know a lot of Peter, Paul, and Mary, but my mom loves Peter, Paul, and Mary, and he says we even had an AIDS research sit-in after the concert, and my mom goes, thank God for AIDS research. I took care of AIDS patients early on in the 70s, and I had no idea my mom took care of AIDS patients, or before you had your heart shit, was involved in anything to do with the heart. I thought you were always a neonatal nurse, Mom.
I thought AIDS was in the 80s. Does she mean the 80s?
Maybe the 80s.
You know, for okay, so now we're in
Well, I don't
AIDS.
know. I mean,
okay, Peter, Paul, and Mary. I love.
Okay, wait.
We have so much to unpack here.
What's a Peter, Paul, and Mary song?
Peter,
Quick.
Paul, and Mary.
So
Peter, Paul, and Mary are. When we did golf, we actually played one of their songs.
What's one of the songs? Because
Peter,
I think
Paul,
I have
and
them
Mary.
on my head, but I
Okay.
want to make sure I'm thinking of the right.
Peter, Paul, and Mary do like Puff the Magic Dragon.
Puff
So they're
the
doing.
Magic Dragon,
So they do. If I Had a Hammer.
fantasy.
So they do a lot of folk.
Okay. I wanted to make sure I wasn't confusing them with the Carpenters.
No, God, no. No.
Wow.
So, Peter, Paul, and Mary are like 1960s folk, really protest music.
Yeah.
And
I mean, this was the height of like
it really
This
is.
was like major protest culture.
Yeah, and so Peter, Paul, and Mary really are a fuck you to the 1950s.
Mm-hmm.
This is what America should be.
Yeah.
And Vietnam is going on.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of like Trump who wants to return to the 1950s, but they only want to return to white 1950s.
Women are like, we don't want to fucking vacuum in heels. Get the fuck out.
But also it is like African Americans and gay people, and we won't even discuss trans people because they don't exist in the 1950s.
Never.
This is a new invention to society.
Yeah.
And so the 1960s is a real repudiation of all of that. And so Peter, Paul, and Mary did this just phenomenal folk music. And I'm not a folk music fan
Right.
by any stretch of the imagination,
Yeah.
but there's Peter, Paul, and Mary. There is, I can see his face.
Garfunkel?
No, that's
Simon?
later. This is in the 60s. It was,
Carpenters?
who?
Carpenters?
No, God, no, just leave the Carpenters out of it.
Oh, but
His son was in the
yeah,
Wallflowers.
Wallflowers.
Yeah,
Wallflowers. Was that
that was like 90s.
Yeah, no. It's in the Wallflowers.
Yeah. God damn it. He's huge. He's huge. Has like this like bushy black hair. But anyway, plays the acoustic guitar all the time. Bob Dylan, yes. And so
just Bob Dylan.
thank you.
It's only
Thank you,
Bob
Federico.
Dylan he's trying to remember.
So, that was all just a repudiation of the 1950s.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have this 1960s, and, flower power and all this kind of stuff. And punk comes directly from that because it was you flower people said that you were going to change the world, and you
didn't do
all
shit.
and you all became executives on Wall Street. And punk was like, fuck you.
People follow
Fuck
the money.
you.
People follow the money.
And so that's where you get the Sex Pistols. That's where you get Black Flag and the Germs and all of these, the Ramones and all of these bands.
I'm sorry, I don't know if you heard that over the microphone of our dog just gagging, but she's fine. Go away. I love you. You're cute.
Yeah, and so, Jack is right. Even in the 70s and 80s, Peter, Paul, and Mary come to campus, they would bring extra police in for protests. Because it was Peter, Paul, and Mary, though it's not my way of protesting.
I like
it's
how
a protest band.
everything started out like nice sounding, and it was like, hey, everybody come together.
Right.
And then it was like, fuck you!
Right, but you know what?
Like, you're not doing anything. We get so frustrated that now people are just, like, screaming into a microphone. Like,
Right,
can you not understand us now?
But the problem is that the protest becomes mainstream eventually. And so
Everything becomes mainstream.
Yeah, and so
Eventually.
okay, let's be honest. In a silly kind of way, Blink 182 is a punk band, but it is kind of a popish punk band.
It's a pop punk.
And Blink 182 going on tour now. By the way,
Are they?
Yeah, they're going on tour.
Really?
They're launching.
Wait, is it
original?
Who is it?
original
Tom
three-
DeLonge that's obsessed with aliens.
Yeah.
The bassist is obsessed with UFOs.
Yeah, and so they're going on a world tour, and we're.
Are they going to bring their socks?
And so.
Oh no, they didn't have socks. That was Chili Peppers. They just had their guitars.
Yeah, and so they. That's Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, I'm saying Blink-182 just had the guitars.
Yeah.
They didn't wear socks. They didn't have the socks. Just their guitars / bass / drums.
And so the problem with all of these protest things is that the record labels, the record companies see it as, oh shit, people are buying into this, and they see dollar signs.
Well, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we're a capitalistic world.
Yeah, and it's like
it's all about that money.
It's like the Woodstock 2000 or whatever the fuck it was.
That shit show.
Which was very rapey and, pyrotechnic.
It really just pure early 2000s. Yeah, it was that's correct. That's correct of how society is.
But I do think that there are certain bands that you're never going to get like the record label that's going to be doing like Black Flag or NoFX or some of your metal bands, because it is
Metal
just
Blade Records is one of them,
because it still is. Some of this stuff is just not something that's going to play.
Well, it's not going to be Sony Records. It's going to be your.
Well, yeah, but you're not going. Look, a radio station is not going to play a "fuck you" on their
Well, you can't
on their
say
rotation.
that over the radio.
But even if it's not, because let's be honest, punk bands and metal bands are fronted by really smart fuckers. And so they are really able to, if they wanted to, be able to really, disguise these lyrics.
Uh-huh.
And so, radio's not going to play them.
Yeah. Jack says his parents went to a Simon and Garfunkel, and there was a spoken word poetry section that his mom said it was very evident that Simon hadn't cleared it with Garfunkel. That's funny.
Yeah, well, holy shit. I mean,
that's great.
I mean, music plays a big part, I think, in your life and my life.
Uh-huh.
And we don't listen to like, what's going on the radio now. We have our stuff that we listen to.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this has directed us. It has directed us in the way that we see the world, the way that maybe we vote, and that, for me growing up in the South, science is a big fuck you to the South, because the South, to be honest, in the U.S. is very religious. And
what?
Yes. It's, I don't know. I think that metal and punk, if we hadn't had that in our lives, we would not be who we are. I mean, can you imagine?
Not.
Can you imagine, like, would you be married to me if I was all into, top 40 pop radio and have that define who I am? I mean, let's be honest.
Well, what's in the top 40 now? I guess it depends on...
I mean, let's be honest. If we were playing, golf with friends, we would be listening to the Decemberists all the time. And that's all that we'd be listening to.
That's true. We would all the Decemberants all the time.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. So.
What
do
a
we
high
call
in
it?
the sky hangover
This is
that
high.
was.
This is high in the sky.
Yeah, there we go, Brandon. I do actually enjoy it, the storytelling of that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. So what do we call it? Since we have not talked about anything in astronomy.
I tried to, guys. I tried to bring us into some semblance of astronomy, and it quickly devolved into non.
Yeah, but we lost a founding member of punk this weekend, and politics has made a statement that rationality trumps, no pun intended, extremism, and on Tuesday, so it's been kind of an interesting
Here in America.
week. But we will return to the astronomy in a few weeks.
Yeah, December 4th.
December
Sunday,
4th?
December 4th with Apollo
17. The last of the manned
The
missions.
last of the Apollos. Never shall man journey to the moon!
Ever again.
So join us.
Until
And
Artemis.
follow us on all the things at Drinking Cosmos on Twitter, Cosmos with Cosmos everywhere else. You can find us on The Hangover only on YouTube, but all of our other main episodes and The Shot with Cosmos on YouTube and any podcast platform like Spotify or Anchor FM.
And we'll see some of you in a week.
And I will take credit of liberalizing my dad with my sister a little bit, although he's surrounded. He has no choice but to just kind of duck into the shadows.
For
Thanks,
everybody
everyone.
here in the U.S., have a great Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Have
Outside
a
the
great
US,
Thursday.
enjoy
For
your
everybody
life.
else. Cheers, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
We'll see you. I gotta end it. Bye.